Welcome back, everybody, to Real Talk here on the Cowboy Slot channel. This is episode number 4, and today is January 28th. Welcome to everybody in here. If this is your first time coming into the live stream, it's an open Q&A. You guys can ask any question you'd like. We're here to answer as many as we possibly can, but we do get fairly busy in the show. So if we do happen to miss your question, you can always visit our website, which is ropethejackpot.com. Have some special guests with us here today. This is Ethan. Ethan is our video editor. So a lot of you guys, he did the recent video for Frankenstein. A lot of y'all mentioned the intro, and the intro to that was really cool. That was all Ethan's doing. So Ethan's going to be sitting in on the show here today. And of course, we have Marc from Gamble Smart. And if you're not yet following Gamble Smart, you can find that link in the video description down below. So welcome to everybody. I know a lot of you out there watching football right now.
I know
boy,
somebody else is watching it too.
That game is getting crazy. I'm doing a little sports betting on my phone, so I'm keeping an eye on it right now. Hopefully the 49ers will recover, but it's not looking good. It's not looking good right now. Not looking good at all. So welcome in, everybody. We're just going to go ahead. We're gonna dive right into some questions. And again, if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to line those up. We'll try to get to as many as we possibly can. Our first question here comes from David. David asks, "How do you feel about multi-card Keno?" I ask because I recently hit multiple jackpots in different casinos and don't see much on them. And I'm under 40 years old. So congratulations on your jackpots, David. First of all, it is fairly difficult to get jackpots on Keno. The nice thing about Keno is that you can adapt it. You know, you can choose if you want to play 3 numbers, 5 numbers, 10 numbers, whatever. That's kind of cool about Keno. But in general, generally speaking, Keno is a pretty bad game to play, just in terms of it's like a sped up version of the lottery. So the odds are not that good. They're not in your favor, especially if you do start betting those higher numbers. I know a lot of people are they betting the 4 or 5 numbers is usually the best way to go when it comes to Keno. And Keno's kind of a dying game now. It really is. I don't know, Marc. What are your thoughts on Keno?
I've never been interested in it. I think if you're gonna, the only time I've ever recommended playing it is if you actually go to a live Keno where you can watch the game at the same time as playing Keno. But playing it like on a slot machine where you're just like, basically like you said, fast playing the lottery. You just see your money just drain and drain and drain. So, I mean, every now and then you can get a hit, but Keno's not a game that should be played in like multiple quantities like that, in my opinion, because I think you'll drain your bank account way too fast or your bankroll. So I stay away from it. I have no interest in playing it.
Absolutely. We do have a super sticker here from Ashley, $1.99. Thank you so much, Ashley. Really do appreciate that. And Jerry Pace is here. Jerry, it was very nice to meet you in Wendover. Jerry came up to us and we talked for quite some time. She was there when we recorded one of our games. It was a lot of fun, and she brought us even some lemon bars. So thank you very much, Jerry. We greatly appreciate that. It really did make our trip. So I really do thank you for that, Jerry. All right. Let's see. Bit Webster, this is one I definitely know Marc will want to jump in on too. When playing bingo slots, is it better to play with fewer people at the casino than playing with big crowds? So this one is a little bit mixed because it's really dependent on where you're at. If you're at a place like WinStar, obviously WinStar is huge. It's the biggest casino in the world. They've got mixes of class 2 and 3. They have tons of different bingo servers, and and we don't even know if that's by area, if it's by denom, we don't know. So at a place like WinStar, it's probably not going to matter much. If you go to a smaller, smaller style, I always say this, a general rule of thumb when playing bingo slots is, you are playing the game of bingo. The slot machine, in front of you, it's not a slot machine, but it just looks and acts like a slot machine, is just there as a visual representation of what's going on in the background. So the best thing you could do is treat it like a traditional game of bingo. And in a traditional game of bingo, you are competing against others. So the less people that are there, you have a better chance, but that's not, again, it's not a huge advantage. And don't be afraid of those bingo machines either. Marc has had amazing luck on it, and Marc's gone to a lot of different class 2 facilities. Marc, what are your thoughts on bingo?
So, yeah, in our experience, we have not seen any favorable time of day. the way that I've tried to explain class two, class two bingo style machines is you are playing the game of bingo, but instead of going up to the teller at the front, whenever you get your bingo cards and you say, "Yeah, give me a stack of three," instead you're saying, "Give me a stack of 1,000,000 cards," and you're like looking at 1,000,000 cards, and then every time a new number is called out, you have to rip the top card off and do it again. So that's actually what's going on the bingo game, and so um, because of that, for each bingo call out or each number that's on there, whatever prize you win, somebody else cannot win that prize at that same time that you are. But it goes so fast that it's really hard to predict, like when that's going to happen. But really, to translate it for everybody, when it comes to playing bingo style machines, especially like the actual real ones, not when I say real, I mean like physical reels, like just like your double diamonds or whatever, sizzling sevens. If you play those, you're going to get a pretty consistent play, whether you're playing 5 line, 9 line, even single pay line. You're going to get pretty consistent play, and they're fairly low in volatility when you compare them to regular slot machines. But when you get into the ones that are they're still class two, but they're disguised as class three. And what I mean, like there's some lightning links and stuff that are class two. Those may be a little bit different, in how they feel compared to the class three versions. But honestly, what all the manufacturers are trying to do that are coming out with like the class two variants of your favorite games out there, like piggy banking and Huff and More Puff and pinball and all that, they want to try to make it feel the same way. And so they're able to do that in certain ways. But as for the back end of how a class two, man, a lot of people are very tight-lipped about it. They don't want to talk about it. So it's kind of one of those things that I would go in with just trying to pretend that it's a double diamond machine and play it for that reason, just because it's low in volatility. And yeah, we've done really well. I mean, it's come to a point now that every time we go to WinStar, maybe 95% of the machines we play are those class two bingo machines, where it wasn't like that when we first started, but as we've converted over, it's more and more consistent. Like we're just, Dave and I have this challenge and it's happened the last 6 trips. Somebody has gotten double seven on one of the games that we're playing. And I cannot even remember the last time I played double diamond and got that. So it's just like, it's just amazing that challenge is going on for so long. And it's like, it should tell you something, right? So I would not be afraid of those at all.
And we do have a super chat coming in from Lucky Jules Slots, $100 super chat. Thank you so much, Lucky Jules. We really do appreciate it. Thanks for joining us in Windover for our little family fun, our little family challenge. Here's for the next time on Double Diamond. It only takes 1 spin. So funny story about
It's
that.
true.
Lucky Jules Slots and myself, we were in the high limit room at the Windover Nugget, and they were doing a little challenge where each of them put in just a single $100 bill into a $100 double diamond machine, 1 credit, 1 spin. And I was like, oh, I'll jump in on this. So I put in $100, did 1 spin. We didn't win anything, but it was a lot of fun. So, and I loved meeting those guys too. So if you're not following their channel, be sure to follow them. They're great people, and we had a lot of fun in Windover. So thank you so much for your super chat. I really do appreciate that so much. And I'll take one more, and then I'll hand it off. I'll hand it off to Mark. Robin R says, "What's the picture under the win on the shirt? A skull, cool shirt. Yeah, guys, we got these new shirts in, and they are shipping now. But they are special shirts, and I'll kind of explain to you why, and then I'll show this one to you and another one. These shirts are all done locally, so it's a small. It's a husband and wife that does these shirts. They do them here in town, couple houses down from me. So when you buy one of our shirts, either the Here for the Bucks or the new Rope the Jackpot shirt, you're actually not just helping out the channel, but you're helping the local economy here, and you're helping our local businesses here in town. So it's something new that we're doing that we really wanted to do, because it does help. We want to focus on local, buy local, sell local, stuff like that. But let me show you these shirts because they are really cool. So this is one of our new ones. Of course, they all have the flag on them, and then Ethan has one of these other ones. There we go. And of course, it's got the flag on the sleeve as well. And we do have all the sizes right now: medium, large, XL, and 2XL. We're working on getting some more sizes, but of course, want to see how these go first. So they're really cool designs. And again, also not only that, but you're helping the channel and local businesses as well. So we wanted to move away from all those big big box places and try to do something fun and local and cool. So those are all available on our shop at ropethejackpot.com/shop. I'll go ahead and put that there up on the screen. So if you want to get them, we're doing small batches only. So there's not a whole lot of them. So if you're looking for a size between medium and 2XL, we've got those in stock. But again, it's small batches for right now. So grab them while you can. All right, Mark, I'll hand it off to you.
Okay, sounds good. You got some good questions in here, guys. Paul Andrews says, question: if you had the power to change laws regarding what slot makers can and can't do, what would you change? I get rid of those coin pots and other illusions that a bonuses do. Uh, well, those aren't really laws. I mean, I guess they could put a law in preventing them from doing that, but I don't see that happening. Um, I think the I think the one thing that I would like to see changed is that manufacturers be forced to be a little bit more transparent about the games that are going out on the floor with things like volatility, making the bet sizes easier to understand. They're getting very complicated very fast, and I think that there should be some more legalization around that kind of stuff, so that we can be better informed. I mean, honestly, yeah, slot machines all come down to pressing a button, but there are big decisions that you can make to increase your overall chances based on the type of game that you're playing. And it really shouldn't be a secret, the volatility of the game. You shouldn't have to go and, look the stuff up. They should be able just to put it on there. But, you know, here's hoping that someday that'll be, required for them to come out. But that's the only thing I can really think of. I think it's pretty good right now.
Yeah, I would definitely agree on that. And we got Gambling Granny in here too. Welcome, Gambling Granny, to the show. Really appreciate having you here. And Alan says, just wanted to let you all know that I had an amazing, great luck at our Indian casino yesterday on Saturday. Made money on 7 out of 9 machines played and broke even on the eighth machine. Made $815 profit. That is awesome, Alan. Keep up the great work. Uh, let's see. How do you feel about a buy a bonus feature? We actually did a whole episode on this. We did a whole episode on the buy a bonus feature. It is not a good bet. Definitely not a good one to play. Um, if you go to our YouTube library and just kind of scroll through the videos, you'll see it on there. It's not that old, so it should only be maybe a page or so back. But it was a great episode, and it talks all about the buy a bonus. So be sure to check that out if you have not yet seen it. All right, Mark, I'll hand it on to you.
Okay, sounds good. And Phyllis says, do slots pay more often at different denominations? No, and this is actually something that Brantley and I might be working on soon. But this is like one of the biggest things, Brantley, that people just get caught up in, and I'm sure most of you guys have heard this before about payback percentages. And oh, you should always play higher in denomination because the payback percentage is so much better. Or they always set the higher denominations to a higher payback percentage. But that is a very long-term play. And in your short session, you're not going to really notice the difference unless it's like wildly different. And that's not typically what you would find in a casino. Like just on the strip in Las Vegas, they're anywhere from say 85% to 98%, somewhere in that range. And in that short term, you doing 2 or 300 to spin, you're not going to be able to really notice a difference in the payback percentages. And so in theory, yes, but in practice, no, if that makes sense. And so you should really always focus only on your bet amount and bet size and that volatility, the low in volatility. If you do those things, you're going to be better off than trying to jumble your mind up with, payback percentages and oh, the loosest slots are downtown. And, on average, this casino pays 1% more. So you should play over there. It's like, yeah, but you can go over there and lose your butt, and then win the biggest jackpot of your life from the Las Vegas Strip, which people have said has the worst payback percentage. But it's a short-term play. The time that you're there, you're just not going to notice the difference. So that's the important thing there.
It is really important. And
Yeah.
one thing that I always try to let people know is, do not focus on the payback percentage, focus on the volatility. And the
Yes.
easiest explanation I can give to this is picture a racetrack, like a running track that you would run on, like, those tracks in high school kind of thing. What it is you have a start line and a finish line, okay? Every slot machine has a start line and a finish line. The finish line is that payback percentage. That is going to be after the race has run. What is the total? That is that payback percentage. But how the track itself is laid out and designed to get to that point is the volatility. So a low volatile game might just be, one straight shot on a flat surface. And then a mid-range volatility game might be, have some turns and have some hills. And then you've got a game like Megabucks, which is equivalent to like running up Mount Everest and then back down. So why would you be focused on the end point when you should be focused on the track in front of you? And the track would be, millions of miles long. You're never going to see that end point. You're never going to see it because it takes so long to get there. And like Mark said, yes, it is true. Like as the denominations increase, it's common practice in the industry for the payback percentages to be higher. But again, you'll not ever see or feel that payback percentage because that payback percentage is the end. So don't focus on the end of the track. Focus on the track in front of you because that's what your feet are going to be running on. That's the best example that I can give
Yeah,
with
it's real
that.
good. Yep.
All right, we're going to move on to some more questions here. Got a lot of questions backed up, guys. So really do appreciate your patience. And again, if we're missing questions, we apologize about that. We do try to get through as many as we possibly can. Let's see. Jennifer on Facebook asks, "Why is it so hard to get into bonus rounds on the Ainsworth machines?" So this one, it really depends on the Ainsworth game that you're playing. Ainsworth actually does a really good job in every single game title that they have. Really has a way different wacky bonus round. Like each bonus
That's
round
true.
has something.
Wacky bonus round's a good way to
Yeah,
put it.
each bonus round has something incredibly unique. We can look at Eagle Bucks and we can look at Cougar Cash. Well, Cougar Cash and Eagle Bucks have relatively the same bonus, but Cougar Cash has multipliers on it, whereas Eagle Bucks does not. They there are some bonus rounds that are much harder to get. There are some bonus rounds that are easier to get. Actually, the easiest of all the Ainsworth games, the easiest bonus to get that comes around the most frequently would be Mustang Money 2. Um, Thunder Cash is a lot harder. Dollar Action is an extremely hard bonus to get. Then you have ones like Eagle Bucks, where, yeah, it comes around frequently, but they tend not to be very good bonuses. So it really depends on the type of game that you're playing. If you're playing like Grand Dragon, and I know Mark knows all about the bonus on Grand Dragon, it can be a hard bonus to get. It really can.
Yes. Yeah.
But when you get it, it's again, it's that volatility factor. When you get those hard to get bonuses, they can be really good, but you can also go a very long time without getting them. So it really is just very dependent on the kind of Ainsworth game, really, that you're on in
Yeah.
terms of that. So I hope that helps to answer your question. Let's see. Paul has a question here. If there is an advantage to max betting, is the payback percentage only based on the max bet? How do progressives factor into the setting? So that's a very loaded question, because again, there's so many different types of games out there. I mean, the progressive, you know, again, is it a wide area progressive? How big is it? A local progressive? Is it a that is a very loaded question. The payback percentage can be different depending on the scenario because every machine is going to be different when you start adding in all of those features and stuff like that. Mark, do you know how to better break down this question for him?
Yeah. So when the game is initially designed and they assign a volatility index to it, it is assuming that all the features on the game are being covered. And what I mean by that is that you would probably play what's a good one that we've the Chili Mania respin is a perfect example of this, where
Perfect.
there's like three different bonuses. And if you don't max bet, then you're losing out on all three of those bonuses and you're just playing the base game. And the return to player on doing that is much lower than you covering all of the different features. And so, my advice has always been, if you're going to play at a game where it requires you to bet a certain amount to be eligible for all the features of the game, then you really should do that. And if that requires you going down in denomination, then do it. The worst thing you can do is sit down at a game that requires, and here we go again with like top dollar, people betting one credit on top dollar. And, you don't want to miss out on bonus rounds and progressive eligibilities. Um, you're hurting yourself. You're hurting yourself big time on doing that. So that's my advice. I think that's probably what you're trying to get at, Paul, is like, do you notice a difference in payback return if you don't bet to cover all the different features of the game? Yes, you do. You definitely do. So you want to always cover all the bonus features and progressives.
Yeah, always, and that ties into something that we always say is just always check your game rules, especially if it's a game you're
Yes.
not familiar with.
Yes.
Mark gave the great example of Top Dollar. There's so many times that we've seen people playing one credit
Oh
on
my
Top
gosh.
Dollar, and it's just like that is not good. You are screwing yourself over if you're playing one credit on Top Dollar
I saw a
because
couple in Aria last year playing 2 credit Wheel of Fortune, the $25 one, in the high limit room, playing 1 credit. And they were sitting there for 30 minutes playing 1 credit. And the bonus, the symbol kept coming, and they'd look up and nothing would happen. And they scratch their heads, and then they just keep letting one bet. It's like you're not going to get the
yeah,
wheel spin doing that. You got to watch and pay attention. And the other one, I'm going to go ahead and say it, guys. If you ever end up playing Top Dollar Grand, you got to be really careful with this game, because as we were coming back, we were playing it and then coming back later and playing it. More often than not, people were not betting the 10 credits, which means you would never get the bonus. You got to bet at least 10 credits to get the bonus. And people were betting 6. We saw people betting 5, 7, 9. It's like you're not going to get the bonus unless you bet the 10. So you got to read the game rules. You got to make sure that your bet is covering the whole point of that game. You do not want to play Top Dollar Grand and not be eligible for the bonus, because that is where the return to player is. And that's true
mm,
for any game. So make sure you're always covering your bet to get the bonus. It's just, God, drill that into your head, please.
absolutely,
So many people lose
absolutely.
out because of that.
Read
It's
those
sad to
rules, and
see.
we got a video coming up. It'll release on Tuesday. Ethan's working on it right now. That will show you the importance of reading those game rules, because I'm not going to say which game it is yet, 'cause you'll find out on Tuesday. I told Mark the story already, and we talked about it. But there's a fairly new game out there that a lot of people are playing, and it does have the grand on it and the minor and major and stuff like that. But there is a nugget of information in those game rules that you really should read and pay attention to. Um, so that'll be coming out on Tuesday. So be watching for that video. And speaking of videos, Vicky says, let's hear a little bit about Ethan. So, yeah, for those of you just joining into the show, this is Ethan. He's our new video editor here for the channel. Did a phenomenal job on that, the Frankenstein video, doing the intro. I thought that was really cool. We got a lot of good comments and feedback from it. Ethan, what about you? So I know you're actually in school right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still full-time in school for my degree. I don't know if I can get there.
I don't know. I don't know if you can hear.
I'll move in. There
There
we
we
go.
go.
So yeah, I'm still full-time in school. Well, no, I don't know about full-time, but I'm in school still for my degree, but still pursue this hardcore for what I enjoy.
Yeah. And Ethan's been traveling with me, and we've been doing a lot of gambling and stuff like that. And you know, it's nice having Ethan there, because he can kind of give a different perspective on the game. So actually, you know what, this would be a good time. Out of all the games at the Wendover Nugget
Yeah.
that we played, not being a slot tech, what is
Yeah.
your favorite game?
Favorite game, like, in general?
Yeah.
I would say obviously like pinball's great because I think pinball is just exciting when you get that bonus. It's just really fun. But I really, really enjoyed Frankenstein a lot. I think that
Yeah.
game's just a lot of fun because it builds up the anticipation and the free games itself lock the multiplier, so it makes it a lot of fun to play. So
Yeah.
it's like an exciting game and it just builds up the anticipation. Even if it's just small credits, it's just fun and the energy and the overall presentation is just really good.
Yeah, I would definitely agree on that. Frankenstein was a really fun game. If you guys haven't seen that video, do go check it out, because it was really, really cool, really awesome. All right, I'll hand it on back to you, Mark.
Okay. Let me see what else we got in here. Pete says, "Hey guys, love the 2 times, 5 times, 10 times slot. One on it a lot. I know the RNG, but sometimes it just feels like it really is the time of day or what day." Ah, listen, it's purely coincidence. The time of day thing is purely coincidence. That is your brain naturally trying to find patterns and stuff that doesn't have patterns. For whatever reason, humans are very they're susceptible to this type of stuff, and they can't really understand what randomness is. And here's what I always say to try to put this in perspective for you is the whole flipping of the coin thing. If you flip a coin, we all say it's 50-50, right? It's going to be heads or tails, 50%. Well, do it 20 times and see what you end up with. I'm willing to wager that you probably will not end up with 10 heads and 10 tails. It'll be something around 13 heads, whatever. But do that every day of the week. Before you go to bed, flip a coin 20 times and record down your results. You're going to see different variations throughout that time. But you might start to see patterns saying, oh, every time I do it on a Tuesday, I'm always getting 15 heads. So that's got to be it. It's better on a Tuesday. But no, it's just your brain trying to, focus in on the pattern that you saw in front of you, but there's actually nothing that exists there as a recognizable pattern. But also the game that you're playing is really high in volatility. I got to tell you, anything that goes up to a 10 times multiplier, 5 times pay, 10 times pay, 3, 4, 5 times, all those games, they are high in volatility, meaning that you are going to see some very big swings. And it's not because of time of day or anything like that. It's just because that game is designed to not give you a lot of wins, saving up for the potential of getting a giant line hit. But it's going to be dead most of the time. If you get mixed bars, you're lucky on that game. Where you compare it to, say, Double Diamond or Sizzling Sevens, you're going to see a lot more action. Not huge hand pays, but you're going to see a lot more action because the volatility is lower. So, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Everybody says this, but just try to look past it. There is no time of day or anything like that. Nothing like that matters.
Absolutely,
Good question,
100%.
though.
Bobby Earl, thank you so much. Bobby Earl gifted 5 memberships, so thank you very much for that, Bobby. As a reminder, our Member Monday shows, we do have an additional live stream just for members. It happens every Monday, so tomorrow. It's a pretty laid-back show. It's a fun show, so definitely make sure to join in if you are a member. If you're not yet a member, would like to sign up, there's a link in the video description down below. And Bobby Earl, thank you so much for gifting those memberships. We really do appreciate it. All right. Let's see here. Robin R says, just returned from Seven Feathers today. Woman sat down at Thunder Cash Progressive 4,800, stayed there till it hit at 4,990.
Ouch.
Wonder if she made money. Probably not.
Probably not.
It takes a lot of money to move it.
Anytime it goes that high and somebody's parked their butt there, they've lost. Lost.
And if you are ever, guys, if you're ever going to chase one of those must hit by progressives, like I would say 48, like at 4,800, I would have played it too. I mean, that's a pretty advantageous play. I would not have sat there until it was 49.9. I would not. That is getting way too invested. Always set yourself a stopping point and say, okay, you know what? Like, yes, it's advantageous to play, but I'm going to go ahead and just put $100 through here and see how it goes. We just shared on our Facebook page, believe it or not, I don't know if you saw this, Ethan, but at the Shoshone Rose in the Cowboy slot zone, the Thunder Cash Progressive hit again fairly low. It was like 93. So you never know. I mean, they can go at any time. And I have seen them go right at 9,000 before. I've shared this story where somebody actually hit it. It was 98. They hit it. It reset back to the game. They paid it out, and then it hit again right after that, right at 9,000. So, it can go off at any point in time. Now, yet as it gets higher, yeah, it becomes a little more advantageous, but I would definitely not ever sit there and try to chase it that much.
Brantley, you don't know this about me yet, but I've gotten to the point where I don't even play those games because I cannot even I don't have the willpower to set stopping points.
Yeah.
Because it feels like it is your progressive. Like you've sat there for so long and it keeps climbing up that it belongs to you and nobody else. And so you get like this personal vendetta against that meter and you're like, I'm going to get this thing. And you lose all self-control. At least I'm talking about personal experience. And so if I do play any of those games, I almost want to put like a folder or something up so I can't see what it is and just play it for the base game because boy, they draw you in. They're really good at that. And you have to have really strong willpower to just stop and walk away and say, you know what, it's not my time. So just be very careful.
Absolutely. And Jay St. Andrews said, I hit the Thunder Cash 91 at Golden Nugget. Yeah, they can go at any time.
If it happens, it happens. Yeah, but don't chase it.
Exactly.
Don't chase it. Yeah.
Let's see. Ryan Peters says, "What about video lottery terminals? How do they work? Is it the same?" So they are definitely not the same. It is a different version of randomness, but you're not. Again, it's kind of like bingo, where the unit in front of you is basically just a visual representation of what's happening on the back end. So it's not you versus the machine. It's actually you versus the lottery pool that the state has, whatever that state or jurisdiction has. So essentially, it's the exact same. It's just a very, very fast version of you buying a scratch off ticket, scratching it off, and revealing a prize or not. And whatever, if it reveals a prize, then the machine is just going to display, whatever is representation of that bet amount that you wagered and won. Um, so they do not work the same as slot machines. They can't be called slot machines. Um, but you can still win money on them. It's a lot of people, I think, when we talk about other classes of gaming like bingo, HHR, VLTs, a lot of people think that, oh, I can't win money on it at all. And it's actually quite the opposite. Historic horse racing works in a very, very different manner, but you can actually make a lot more money off of it on a smaller bet than anything else. And the same with bingo as well. The bingo machines offer great opportunities for really, really good wins. I've seen 25-cent red screen machines pay out $200,000. That would never happen on a regular 25-cent slot machine. So you do have it is different. It does work different. Yes, it's not a slot machine, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't win on it. So just I wouldn't be afraid of it. I would just, limit your budget a little bit more, because you're not having you know, that same equal chance on every single spin as you would with the slot machine, because it's you versus a random number generator. You're playing against either somebody else or a pool or another game. So limit your budget, but you should be limiting your budget anyway, even if you were
That's
playing
right.
slots. So
That's right.
I hope that helps to answer your question. All right, Mark, I'll hand it on to you.
All right, sounds good. Let's see. And Mr. Bashin to me says, "Hi guys, do you think bonus game payouts are predetermined or and not random? It really depends on the type of bonus. Free games are not predetermined. So imagine free games just like free games. You pushing the spin button 10 times or whatever, but you're not having to pay for it. Now things can be different in the bonus rounds. Thunder Cash is a good example. The reels change. You don't have the same reels as you do in the regular game. And so that could change, but it's not predetermined. Like it doesn't matter if you get 10, 20, 30, doesn't matter. It doesn't decided what your end result is yet. Each of those spins are going to play out equally. But other things that are predetermined are like the pick a jackpot bonus on, say, dancing drums, for example. If you have to pick those and they don't reveal what was left, then it was already predetermined before you even started. And that game is like that. So that's why it's always the mini. Why is it always the mini? I got 2 grands. Wasn't the grand close? No, it was already predetermined to give you the mini. So it really depends on the bonus round. That's the short answer to that. And let's see. And Misty Mihan says, "Staying at Aria, which games would you recommend to build your bankroll?" Good choice. Aria is great. I would say 5-line top dollar, but they took them all out. They are all gone except for the ones in the high limit room. So, oh boy, Aria is becoming tougher and tougher. Brantley, I got to be honest. I think if you go in I think the only bank of machines that are still reasonable to play are by the check-in. You remember we were playing there last time, Brantley? It was like a 5-line triple stars was over there.
Yeah.
Um, that's like the last of the last, I think, when it comes to like building bankroll at Aria. Unless I'm missing something, but it's becoming tough there. I got to be honest. What do you think, Brantley, about that one?
I have my thoughts on this. We came out with the video. Obviously, Mark and I, we did the road trip, last summer, and we came out with a video shortly after that we got to talking and thinking just about Vegas in general. And this last time that I was in Vegas, it just kind of reiterated everything. Ethan and I, we just got back from the Wendover Nugget. I had such a much better time at the Wendover Nugget than I did in Vegas. Vegas really has gotten very overpriced. Obviously they are replacing a lot of those games. Aria has changed a lot. They used to have that the triple lucky game, or no, triple jackpot is what it was called, triple jackpot.
Yep.
And they took that away. Obviously they do still have good machines. Don't get me wrong, they do
Yeah, they
still have
do.
good machines, and they do have machines that you can build your bankroll on as well. I would focus more on not necessarily what your focus on your budget first and foremost, and then stick with something small to start with, and try to build up from there on whatever lower volatile game that you can find. But they are few and far between now. And I just, Ethan and I were just talking about this. I honestly think that going forward, that we will probably be in Wendover more than we will be in Vegas, just because it's really, it's changed too much to the point. I mean, the only thing that I really look forward to in Vegas now is Cherry's Jubilee, and that's about it.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, Aria does have good games. I would recommend this too. If you are just getting there and getting started, and you're trying to build your bankroll, it's not that far of a walk or that difficult of a walk to get over to MGM Grand and do those Cherries
Yeah.
Jubilee. You
Yeah.
can walk through Park MGM and then walk through New York, New York, and cross over the bridge. Cherries Jubilee is right there. It's a relatively easy walk. You can do it indoors if if the weather's not cooperative. Um, so I would recommend doing something like that. And at least Aria, the good thing about it is relatively central. So you do have
Yeah.
a lot of, New York still has a lot of those really old classic games too. So
And so does Park MGM. I
yeah,
mean, they have several banks of Sizzling Sevens. They've got their own little Monte Carlo version there. They also have dollar, top dollar, and double top dollar. They have dollar pinball there. It's hard to get on that one, but they've got them. So as you're walking through, look for those older machines. They do exist in those casinos.
absolutely. And just really quick, guys, for those of you that are just jumping in, we do have these brand new shirts that are for sale in the shop right now at that website address, ropethejackpot.com. I'll stand up so you can, of course, see it, but they've all got the flag on it. They're really cool. And the best part about these is these are all made locally. We're moving away from using all, big box retailers and stuff like that. It's a husband and wife that does all of the work for our shirts. So when you buy a shirt from our shop, you're not just supporting the channel, but you're supporting the local economy and local businesses, and small town business is what we're focused on. So head on over to the shop. We do have sizes from medium, large, extra large, and 2XL. Those are available right now in two different designs. So, and those are shipping right now. We are doing it small batch right now. So as soon as those sizes sell out, they sell out. So get them while you can. Just wanted to toss that out there. And we do have a $10 super chat here from Alan. Alan, thank you so much. Really do appreciate that. I feel my current short-term hot streak may not have happened without what I've learned from you guys. My friend Bill is also doing better at gambling lately. Thank you. You're very welcome. We really do appreciate that. Really do appreciate that. And thank you so much again for your super chat. All right. Hayden says, how do you guys feel about DraftKings online slots? Any game recommendations for slow rollers? So DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars, and MGM, those are the big guys. Those are the ones those are legally regulated. And those are, they follow the laws. Actually, FanDuel does something really cool. If you are playing slots on FanDuel, I don't know if you saw this, Mark. If you're playing slots on FanDuel, it'll have a message that pops up that is it's like I think it actually says reality check, and it says exactly how much you've wagered. And then
Good.
it actually will tell you, it'll recommend, like, would you like to take a break? This is how
Good.
much you've wagered. And actually will pop up throughout your gameplay. So DraftKings and FanDuel, I can't speak on DraftKings, but FanDuel, they're very responsible. They are legal. They are legitimate. Um, I haven't really seen what DraftKings has, but I'm pretty sure that they have a pretty good selection of machines. Again, it's not legal in all states. It's only legal in a few states. But those states where it is legal, yeah, they definitely have a pretty good selection. So again, sorry, I can't directly answer the question because I'm not too familiar with DraftKings, but I do know that DraftKings, along with FanDuel and stuff, those are the big, legit, legal big dogs of the slot community. All right, I'll hand it on back to you, Mark.
Okay. Just saw this one come through with Chris Pratt. Hi, keep rocking, you guys. Love seeing you all together. Quick question. I recently heard on Class 2 machines that the bonus is predetermined, meaning if you pick mystery, yeah, that's absolutely true on Class 2 machines because it's all based on the bingo pattern. So to pick the gems, that's one of them. It's already predetermined before you even pick. And actually, if you do have a keen eye and you look at the bingo card, you might have a good idea on what it's going to be. So yeah, those are already predetermined because of the bingo card that's already occurred. So that one's a little bit different. Let's see. Yeah, well, here's another bingo. Boy, everybody's asking about Class 2 tonight. Birgit says, hi, Brantley, Marc, can you win bingo on the same bingo machine after someone just won? It doesn't matter when you push the spin button on bingo since there is no RNG. So yes, the answer is yes. You can win back-to-back combinations that somebody just hit on the machine. Just try to remember, and Brantley mentioned this earlier, just try to remember that Class 2 bingo machines is just another way to produce randomness. There's no RNG in the actual slot machine itself, but there is an RNG pulling the numbers, pulling the cards, pulling the eligible numbers on the cards. All that stuff is still very much randomized. And so, yeah, you can play it just like you would a Class 3 machine. Really, that's kind of the way I want to say it. It's just try not to get all caught up in it. But it does play out as if there is an RNG in the actual device itself that you're playing, the actual slot machine. So hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that answer,
Yep.
Marc. And then let's see. Brendan says, could you introduce your help for those of us that may not know him? So this is Ethan, for those of you guys just joining us. Ethan's our video editor. He does a phenomenal job. So he's sitting in on the live stream today. So I wanted y'all to see him and get to know him a little bit more. So this is Ethan here. Let's see. We got two questions, YouTube related questions. One where Jackpot asks, when you upload a video on YouTube as a slot channel, under what category does it go under, gaming or entertainment? We always just default to the entertainment category for slot play, entertainment category. And then occasionally, depending on the in-depth nature of the video, if it's like one that we're sitting and educating, it'll go under the education category. And then Buzznet Slots says, how do I get permission to film my slot play? I am taking a chance lately and would hate to get in trouble. I recently emailed my host, still waiting on an answer. Best thing to do is always, the slot department is going to be the one to talk to. So typically in the casino, there's always a manager or supervisor on duty at some point, even late in the night. Talk to the slot manager, just ask them. They're going to have a lot, quicker pull. If you go to promotions or your host, obviously they're going to have to email other people, which that email is eventually going to have to come to the manager of the slot department anyway. So, manager of the slot department is probably going to be your best bet to ask them. And always do ask. That is a really big thing because casinos have way different policies on filming. Some don't care. Some it's open and free. I know isn't Venetian now is like that, isn't it, Marc? Where it's just open to everybody to film.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
there's some other casinos that they don't allow it at all. So always
Yeah.
double check because it really does. It helps to not get in trouble when
It
you're
does.
filming.
Yeah.
It does. All right. Oh, back to you, Marc.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, Mega 23 slots. WinStar is getting tougher to win at slots. They have been taking out pretty much all the old school slots. No, I cannot say this is totally false. It is really about the games that you're playing. I assure you. I have done, and Dave has done, and even my wife Jody has done better at WinStar than we have at any Vegas property in a long time. The last 3 or 4 trips, especially, we've converted free play of 200 to 250 bucks up to 800, 900, even $1,000. But we play almost exclusively the bingo machines. And there's a reason why those machines give you half as many tier credits and bonus, like free play and stuff compared to everything else. It's because they're paying better, and the house edge is smaller on those games, and so they're going to give you less comps. But as long as we keep winning, fine. Give me less comps. But yeah, it really depends on the games. Now, if you're looking for Class 3 games like the Double Diamond, they exist, but they're all in the high limit room and they're excruciatingly high denomination. So that part is true. But I really want to tell people that if you really want to play on a budget, go and play the bingo machines, the spinning reels. You know, don't stay away from the hunt for Neptune's gold and all those. Go with the spinning reels. Yes, they can be incredibly boring sometimes, but when you get those red screens going, it gets really exciting. And as long as you're watching your budget, you will start to move up. And it's just, I can't say that enough. I've had a blast out there. So just check the games that you're playing and make sure you're playing some good ones there. And there was one other one. Jeff, this is a really good question. Do slot machine manufacturers, casino, hire people who are experts at human behavior when designing and placing slot machines? They absolutely do.
100%.
Psychology is a huge, huge part of slot machine manufacturing and game design. That's the reason the pots fill up. That's the reason the piggies look like they're about to explode and the firecrackers are going all the way up. They know that people are must hit by progressives. Another good example. People, get sucked in by that, and that is the ultimate goal: is to keep people to keep playing and completely lose touch with how much money they have in the machine and the value of the dollar and all that kind of stuff. That's what they want. And that's why it's super important that and this is what we talk about a lot on Gamble Smart, is that you don't let the machine overpower you. You have to be the strong one, because no one's going to tell you to stop. The casino's not going to come by and say, yeah, you've been betting a lot lately. I think you need to calm down. No, they're not going to say that. They're going to want you to keep playing over and over and over again. They want you to chase the piggies. They want you to chase the firecrackers all the way up to the top. That's the way those games were designed. But you have to be the strong one to back off from that and say, you know what? I'm not going to fall for this. I'm going to do 100 spins and I'm out, or 50 spins, or $100, whatever the case is. Set the limits before you sit down at the machine. Because they're only going to get worse from here on out, guys. It's going to be more and more addicting. They're going to build more and more of that stuff to try to draw you in, to prevent you. We see this in games where it's persistent gaming, meaning like you're playing, what was that? Not Sphinx, Scarab,
Scarab.
where you kind of have to get to that 10th spin right before you give up. And it's, there's going to be more and more of those things out there, but you have to be the strong one to say, you know what? I'm below my limit. I got to get out of there and go play something else or take a break.
You know,
Just
just to add to this, if this tells you how strong a psychological pull is, and the manufacturers are smart, and again, this is not, everybody wants to go blame the casino, but really the manufacturer actually they have more weight to throw around in the ring than the casino does. The manufacturer does have psychological experts that come in and help them to design these games, and if it tells you how good they are at it, we look at the fat piggies and the firecrackers.
yeah,
We tell people all day long that that is just a visual and that does not matter. And there are still players out there that are like, that pig's gonna pop, that firecracker. I know. I gotta be at that game. I
yeah,
gotta be there. And it even says it in the game rules. And there was one time that, I was talking to somebody and they're like, man, this pot is really full. It's gonna go off any minute. And I say, well, it's just a visual. And they're like, no, no, no. I know it's a fact. When it's full, it's closer. And I showed him in the game rules and I said, look, it says right here in the game rules that it's just a visual and it's no indication of a bonus. And he still did not believe it. And that is
yeah,
how strong of a psychological pull it has on people. And that's why we are here. We are here because we're here to tell you the truth of, that's not what really matters. Focus just on your budget and yourself. And if it goes off, it goes off. I've had bonuses go off when the pot or the firecrackers were, empty.
yeah,
It doesn't matter. So yes, absolutely 100%. That is a very, very, very true thing.
absolutely.
Um, let's see here. I'm gonna save that question for later. There's a question in here. I think all right. I'm gonna save this question. I'll put it up on the screen because I have a story. But I'm gonna save Eric. I'm gonna save your question for the very end of the show because I do have a story about that, and that will be the question that we will end the show on today. So for now, let's go ahead and we'll take some other questions. This one comes up a lot. I think it's actually
I
come up
know.
every single live stream. Hey guys, love the channel. In your opinion, is it better to play 10 lines or 5 lines on the Ainsworth Thunder Cash game? It is 100% your preference. There's not, when it comes to the must hit by amount. So you're asking 1 credit at 10 lines or 2 credit at 5 lines. So both of them If it was a dollar machine, both of them are going to be $10. That progressive is going to add at the exact same rate. So it's just a matter of how do you like to play. On that particular game, there is no right or wrong answer. It is 100% how you like to play it. And there are some games like, here at the Shoshone Rose Casino, people ask, why aren't you playing 10 lines? Well, because the game only goes up to 5 lines here. That's all the option we have is 5 line. And some games go up to 5 line. By the way, Mark, and I'm doing a video on this the next time I'm at Wendover. There was an Ainsworth game that I had never seen before, and it went up to 100 lines. It was
Oh, is it a penny version?
it is a penny version, but it was
Yeah,
absolutely nuts. It
those
was
are all
crazy.
over WinStar.
It was
They're all over
absolutely
WinStar.
crazy,
Yeah.
but no, this one,
Yep.
it's 100% personal preference, Steve.
Yeah.
There's not a right or wrong answer, however you wanna spend it. Lucky Jewel Slots has a question here on the new high limit editions. If you get the bonus wheel $1,000 spins, can you cash out after each spin, or do you need to complete all the spins prior to cashing out? You do have to complete all of the spins because it's still one bonus round. It's just adding those credits to the meter individually after each spin. So you do have to wait until the bonus round is complete to cash out your ticket. All right, Mark, I'll let you go ahead and grab one if you'd
Okay.
like.
Let's see. And Brendan Bunker says, is the percentage of virtual blackjack the same as the real table? So yeah, I'm going to go into this, but I'll make it real short. So virtual table games, and we're talking about blackjack, we're talking about roulette, craps. Anytime you have a virtual version of that game, the mechanism that is shuffling the cards or spinning the ball around the roulette table or throwing the dice has to be random. Just like if a physical dealer was doing it. Okay. That part has to be random by law. But what they can do is they can adjust the payback return or the payback percentage on those games by limiting certain things. So in the case of blackjack, you will see a lot of times that they may not let you split unless you have aces, or they may not let you double down unless you have a 9, 10, or 11. They start to restrict some of the house edges that you get with blackjack. They don't let you surrender. They don't let you, there's other things I'm not going to go into it, but that's how they limit the payback percentage. So if you were to sit down at a virtual blackjack game and you notice all those things are missing, in fact, there was one at I think it was MGM Grand or Aria that I couldn't even split or double down. It wasn't even possible, and that will tell you that the payback percentage is pretty low on that version of video blackjack. Now with roulette, the way they get you is they change what the payouts are. So instead of getting straight up 35 to 1, you might get 32 to 1. And these will be spread out in the same casino. You got to go and look, and you want to play the one that pays the 35 to 1, not the 32 to 1. So that's how they manipulate the payback percentage. But as for the ball going around or the shuffling of the cards, that has to be random. Has to be. So I hope that helps, Brandon. Thanks for your question.
100%. Tom on Facebook asks, do you think cruise lines can change the win percentage daily as they shut down all the slots while in ports? It seems to me some days are tighter than others. Do cruise lines have a gaming commission? So there's a lot of aspects to this question, but the most important thing to realize is, first of all, first part, no, they do not change the payback percentage on the machines. They do not. We've done several interviews and stuff. They don't change the payback percentage. Secondly, even if they did, again, that plays into the fact of, I will say this, especially for those of you that are new in here, payback percentage is the most misunderstood thing about slot machines. It is the most misunderstood thing. If you go back to earlier in the episode, I gave a great example of just the difference between payback percentage and volatility. The payback percentage is something that you will never see. That takes over 10 million spins to even come within a 90%, not 100%, but to even come within 90% confidence of the actual setting, it takes at least 10 million spins. There's not a person alive that will sit there and do 10 million spins on a slot machine consistently enough to even get close to that payback percentage. So the payback percentage is the long term. That is the end result after millions of users, millions of spends, all of that. If you have a machine that is set, let's just say this: if a casino has a machine and it's set it at 97%, and then for like one day they're going to set it to 79%, which is by the way big jump that a slot machine cannot even do. Because if you actually look at the programming of a slot machine, a lot of people don't realize that payback percentage is incremental. It's not, it's like fractional of a percent.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
not the
like,
Wild West here. Yeah.
a lot of people think it's 0 to 100, and it's not. It might, when you look at a menu on a slot machine, it might have, we'll just say this slot machine has 3 options. You can have it at 97.79, 97.76, or 97.73. It's incremental like that. So it's not even that big of jumps. But even if we'll just say even if they were to take a machine that was set at 97 and magically just drop it to 79, you, the player, would never see a difference. You would never see a difference in the short term that you were sitting there playing it. It would still take millions and millions of spins to get to that point. So, first of all, they do not change payback percentage, and second of all, even if they did, it wouldn't affect you. It wouldn't affect you. It wouldn't affect your game, anything like that. When it comes to gaming regulations and commissions, so they are governed through the CLIA, which follows all of Nevada's gaming regulations. So we do have an episode about that in the library. All right, little rant. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Mark. I'll,
It's
I'll
all
pass
good.
it off to you. But always, guys, always remember that payback
Yep.
percentage. If you ever hear anybody talking about payback percentage, refer them back to this time clip in this video. Payback percentage means nothing to you in the short term that you were there at any
Right.
casino playing any machine. So just always remember that.
Yep. And Richard Santee says, get into the habit of playing max credits to win top prize in the majority of slot machines. You must play max credits. This is true. And this is why kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, but you got to be really careful with this. If it's just the top line jackpot, then I think maybe it might be okay not to go for it. But if you're missing out on progressives or bonus rounds, stuff like that, then absolutely you must max bet. The only reason I say that is because hitting the top line jackpot on the machine is really difficult anyway. And if you're going outside of your budget comfort zone just for the sake of trying to get that, then it's not worth it. It's only worth it if you can afford to bet max. And that's actually true for anything. Like if you can't bet max on these games, then go down in denomination so that you can bet max. Like that's what I would always do. And let's see. And Galish, I hope I said your name right. Hey, Marky, I haven't heard that in a while. I love watching you guys. Thank you for all you do and show us. I slip every now and then, but hear you in the head and come back to earth. No pigs, dragons, or firecrackers. Yeah. Listen, guys, we all slip. And any gambler that says, I am 100% on my game, I never mess up, I never chase, I never go to the ATM, I always leave with my money, is full of it, in my opinion. I think a lot of us have a weakness, and it's just inherent in gambling. It's just risk reward. This is the downside of it, right? Is that we do chase and we do go to the ATM and we do break rules, even the best of us. And I've been through this. And it's important that you just don't beat yourself up, but you don't want to repeat it. So you should always self-evaluate at the end of every gambling session. If you screwed up, especially, then you should stop. And on your way home or when you're in your room taking a break or whatever the case is, really think about it and say, you know what, that was so stupid. What am I going to do the next time to prevent myself from doing that? You can't just say that was stupid and think that that's going to be enough, because as soon as you get back from your casino trip and you take a couple of days, you're going to be ready to go. You're going to be back in the car going and doing the same thing that you did last time because it's all out of your mind. So if you do slip or you do make a mistake, you got to self-reflect and make a decision on what you're going to do next time. For me, it was getting lock boxes in place. And also for me, I decided I'm never gambling alone. I need to have a gambling buddy so I can be watched. And they don't need to watch me. They don't need to be over my shoulder, but the fact that they're there makes me stay in check with myself. And these are the things that I needed to do personally to make it a better trip. And I got to be honest, the last 2 trips that I've done after I put all these in place have been some of the best casino trips of my life, because I'm not worried about losing money. I'm not worried about going outside of my budget zone or anything like that, my comfort zone. I've really come down in the denominations I play, and I feel great. I'm having a good time, and everybody should be like that when they go into the casino. So don't beat yourself up. You slipped up. That's cool. but just think about what you're going to do the next time so you don't make the same mistake again. Now, there's my rant.
Absolutely, and a very good rant. And also, this is a good time to remind you guys. Marc and Dave have the Gamble Smart channel. If you're not yet following Gamble Smart, Gamble Safe, link is in the video description down below. They do a lot of that stuff. Really focus on that responsible gambling, which is super important. So always make sure follow them as well. And
Thanks,
Ashley
Brantley.
at Super Chat here, 9.99. Thank you so much, Ashley. Guys, we really do appreciate those super chats, super stickers. They're very, very helpful to the channel. So thank you. Ashley says if a $1 double diamond with max 3-bet is your highest denomination / lowest volatile game, and you go to the casino with $400, how long would you play that game for? Would you put in all 400? If I had 400 just to devote to that game, I would. So following the 1% rule, I'd probably put in 300. With that, I would probably put in 300, and probably for me, and this is just me personally, what I would do, I'd put in 300, or maybe even, it's low enough you could start with 100 at a time, and then if you double that 100, cash out, put the ticket away. That's what I would do. But I would start with probably 300, or just hundreds at a single time. That's just me personally, but that way you can kind of keep track and then cash out as you need to, and so on and so forth. So that's what I would recommend. Thank you very much for that super chat. I really do appreciate it. Guys, things like the super chats, and also, purchasing our t-shirts, stuff like that is very helpful to us. So we really do appreciate that. And again, if you haven't yet gotten to check out our new merchandise, it's at our website, ropethejackpot.com/shop. So be sure to check that out as well. Carson has a question here, and Carson, I saw you had asked the question earlier, so I do apologize about that. Do multi-denom Ainsworth, such as the multi-7 machine, games change volatility when it changes denom? So it doesn't change volatility when you change the denomination, because the volatility is not a setting. The volatility is how the game itself is designed. Now, each game is going to have its own volatility. So, like Mustang Money is going to be lower than Thunder Cash. Thunder Cash is going to be lower than Dollar Action. So, each game is going to have different volatility to that. But the volatility will not change with a bet amount or denom or anything like that, just the actual game titles. And let's see. Tina from Facebook says, new to casinos, if I walk in with $100, what games should I try if I want to go home with a little more money? I know probably will never hit a big jackpot. Well, you never know. You really never know. I mean, even, Cherry's Jubilee is a great example. I've seen people sit down and they spin it one time and they hit it, and then they hit it on the back to back and they walk away with $2,000. So it is possible. There have even been stories of people putting, doing a couple spins on megabucks and hitting it. But with $100, just the most important thing to keep in mind is, keep your expectations real. Obviously, you are working with a limited budget, and then ask yourself, do you want to be entertained, or do you want to try to, make a little money or double it? If you're wanting to try to make a little money or double it, do something like, double diamond machine, something that's low in volatility, a game that's really, really simple and easy. Or video poker, if you're good at it, would be another good one. If entertainment is your key, you can play games that are, a little higher in volatility, but I would just really low roll it. A game like Frankenstein, if you do want something that's a lot more fun and interactive, and you're there just for the fun and you really don't care about making a lot of money, put it on the 1 cent denom and just have fun at a low bet. You can do that. You can still get the same enjoyment of the game with a low bet. So it really just depends on what you want to do. But the biggest thing is just to watch your budget and watch yourself. If you're working with $100, just, keep it realistic and be happy with smaller wins too. Breaking into 20s, have some fun with some 20s. That's what I would recommend. All right, back to you, Mark.
Okay. I've seen this one coming up. Pakita says, anyone asked about the return to player tracking app? I assume you're probably talking about Slot Check, I think it's called. Be very careful with these types of things. Again, these types of apps are doing good things and bad things. And here I'm going to go on a very small rant. I promise, Brantley, I'll make this quick. These types of apps are saying, like, here's where the hot machines are. Here's where how many jackpots have been paid on this machine. All that information is is about as useless. No, it is not about as useless. It is useless, just like the roulette history, like we call it the dummy board, where it shows you how many red numbers have come up, how many cold numbers, hot numbers, all that kind of stuff. It's completely useless information. You can't do anything to better your game based on that stuff. It's the same thing with this. Like if you see somebody, an app or even a person telling you that machine is hot over there, it's been paying all day, you might make a decision that is going to end up hurting you in the long run. Maybe it's a $100 machine. You don't play $100 machines, you play quarters. But because somebody told you that's a hot machine, you go over there and start playing it. And then you lose your butt. You're like, well, wait a minute. This app said this was a hot machine. It's paid 23 jackpots today. And that's why we say try to stay away from that type of information, because that's really going to impact you negatively than the other way around. Good things about that app: it will show you where all the machines are inside of a casino, so it's kind of like a map of the casino where you can find it. But just stay away from the stuff trying to tell you what the return to player is on a certain machine, because it tells you nothing about the short term of what is about to happen when you sit down at it. And I can't say that enough. You got to be very cautious about that, because we don't want to see anybody get hurt with that type of information. And I know it happens. I know there are people out there that play quarters, and then somebody tells them, you got to go play that $5 machine over there because I keep getting hand pays on it. And then they say, yeah, but I only 75 cents is the most I play. Just do a couple hundred in it, and I guarantee it's going to hit. And then they go over there and they lose $200, and they're like, well, what happened? It's a slot machine. That's what happened.
I love that.
That's what happens. So just be careful with that information, guys. It's super important. It's kind of been the theme of the show, is payback, return, and hot and cold and all that. Stay away from that, because you cannot make a advantage play off of that information. If that makes sense.
100%. Thank you very much for that, Mark.
Yep.
Phil says, going to Vegas first time this March 2024. Never gambled. Hope I don't get addicted. My wife will be there, will be with me, and will be my gambling buddy and keep me in check, and vice versa. I hope that's a really good thing. That is a very good thing, especially, if it is your first time. You don't know. Gambling can be very addictive. I actually, I have friends of mine who they never gambled before they met me. And when they started, they were like, well, I'm just going to do like $20. And it's like, that was it. And now they're going to the casino by themselves and spending hundreds. And I tell them, I'm like, reel it in, reel it in. You need to, it doesn't work like that every single time, but it's, they get that first jackpot. The first jackpot is like that, like that initial hit of it is a drug. Essentially, it is a drug. You get that first jackpot and you think, oh wow, that was easy. No, it's not going to be like that every single time. So it's very good you're taking somebody else with you. Just have fun, walk around, take it slow, take it easy. Obviously, you're going to Vegas. You got a whole vacation ahead of you. So just have fun on that.
Something that Dave's always said on our channel, and this is so true: early success can impact you in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So we find, by talking to people, during the interviews and stuff, that people that have had a lot of early success when they've gone to the casino for the first time, just like Brantley said with his friend, and they hit that hand pay or they hit something crazy their first time there, that can be the drug that hooks them in. And then they start wanting to go more often. They want to start tapping into money that they shouldn't be spending and all this kind of stuff. And so if you are that kind of person that have early success like that, just understand that it's not always going to be that way. And more often than not, it's not going to be that way. And I think that's what kills a lot of people, is their first trip is amazing, which we all want, right? First gambling trip, we want to win something, right? But that can also destroy you later on. And so just be very aware of that. If you go there and you do well, practice what we're always talking about. Save that money, put it away, go out to dinner, go treat yourself, do something else besides putting it back in the machine, because that's what they want. That's what all casinos want. That's what the manufacturers want. Everybody wants you to keep putting the money back in the machine. Mm-hmm. And the only person that's going to stop that is you. And so
the only thing,
we wish you good early success, but just be careful with what happens afterwards. Yeah.
Always remember the biggest advantage that the casino has over you is time.
Yes.
They know that is the biggest advantage. The biggest advantage the casino has over you is time. They count on one thing. and one thing alone, and this is why, especially when people bring up payback percentage, I try to hammer this hard. The casino doesn't care about payback percentage. They
No.
don't. They don't care about it. They don't need to change it. They're just needing one thing, and that is you to stay in that chair. Whatever gets you to come back, whatever gets you to stay longer, that's why it's like, hey, we'll give you food, we'll give you spa, we'll give you this nice room, whatever you need to escape, as long as you're in that casino, they
Yes.
got you on the hook. That's it. So if you win, don't be afraid to take, you know what, and take a break. If you do go to a place like, Vegas, or, any destination for that matter, even if it was, here in Lander, Wyoming at the Shoshone Rose, don't be afraid to leave the casino either. Leave and go
Right.
enjoy some other things. There's a lot of other things to see and do out there. And
Yeah.
we encourage that. So absolutely. But just be careful
Yeah.
out there. Just be
Yes.
careful. All
Yes.
right. Let's see. Actually, Mark, I'll let you take this question here from Nancy, and then we'll roll into
Okay.
Eric's question.
All right, sounds good. Hey, Mark and Brantley. Mark, when you're going to WinStar, do you ever gamble at the other non-smoking area, Rio? Thoughts on the two areas? I've been down there a couple times, but the reason I don't go down there is pure laziness. It literally is a mile away. I'm not joking. It is 1 mile away from the Rome non-smoking room that we're currently in, and it's you think, well, yeah, well, big deal. It's going to take 20 minutes to get there. It's 20 minutes of the most smoke filled areas that you can possibly imagine. And I'm not a fan for smoke in the casinos. And so we really have not had a lot of drive to go down there for that reason. Maybe if it wasn't so crowded, but it's also very dark in there, very dark. Those ceilings are really low. It's all black. And the other side of that, the Rome non-smoking, it's very bright, and it's a better environment. I like it better than the dark and dingy and feel like I'm trapped in some kind of jail and I can't leave. So
And I personally have not been to WinStar yet, so
yeah,
I still need to get down there.
yes, you
Um,
do. It's awesome.
hopefully soon. All right. I'm going to take this question here from Eric, because this one kind of leads into a lot. Eric says, have you ever seen people gamble their social security or retirement away? So I told you I had a story, so I will tell you the story. So when I was working in the casino, um, you know, as employees of the casino, just like and employees of any job, everybody likes to have fun, and everybody likes to talk to people and joke around. And there were a lot of employees out there that, they would say things like, oh, the machines are hot today. Like they knew that they weren't hot, but the employees would still say things like that. And there was a lady that used to come in, and she came into the casino every single day, and she was actually a good friend of mine. And I didn't know her outside of the casino, but she was just a good customer. She would come in all the time. And she would always bring me like chips and snacks and stuff like that. And we would sit there, and she was always in great spirits. And one day she came in, and she was like visibly shaking and like sweating and everything. And she's like trying to sift through her pocketbook. And she looked right at me, and she said that she had just gambled away her entire retirement and she didn't know what to do. And at that moment, I think that that single moment right there is when Cowboy Slots was born, because that forever changed how that is when I decided people have to start learning the truth. That they have to, because people do get hurt by gambling. They do. If you're not careful, if you get so wrapped up in the psychology, if you're so focused on things like, machines are hot, or this is a good time, or if I fast tap it, or if I do this, or if I all I have to do is this one thing. There is no one thing. If it was honestly that easy, everybody would be millionaires, and the casino would have shut that down a long time ago. There's no tricks that you can do to trick the machine. The only thing you can do is watch your budget, watch your bankroll, and play the machines that are appropriate for that, because machines are designed differently. You've got machines out there that are designed for a higher budget that people don't know are designed for a higher budget, and they're sitting there just feeding it 20 after 20 after 20 after 20, and that's what they expect you to do. So that to answer your question, yes, and that is one of the reasons why hitting hard on the facts is so important, because if you know the facts of gambling, you're going to have a better time, and you're not going to lose your retirement. Are you still going to lose? Yes, nobody can win at slots all the time. Nobody. I don't care what anybody else says. Nobody can win at slots every single time. If you play slots, especially if you play slots on a regular basis, you will be down and you will eventually lose. The important thing is to mitigate your losses and understand what you're doing and understand not to get caught up in that psychology. So that is just one thing that, is super important that everybody needs to know. And that to me, like that one instance of that lady coming up to me saying she just gambled away her whole retirement, that is when Cowboy Slots was born. And that's why we're here today. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to round out the show. Hey, for those of you football fans out there, the game is still tied right now, and it looks like the 49ers are pretty close to making another couple points here. So,
Ah,
we'll see. We'll see. And it is fourth quarter, 9 minutes left to go. So, anyway, guys, that is going to round out the show for us today. As a reminder, please do go check out our new swag in the shop. I'm wearing one right now. They're really, really awesome, really cool. And again, when you buy one of these shirts, you're not just supporting the channel, but you're supporting the local economy and local businesses here. So we really do appreciate that. We're trying to do something new. We're bringing back the mom and pop shop deal. We're dropping all these other big box places. So if you like small business and supporting small business, hey, we're doing that here. And we really do appreciate your support. So Member Monday is tomorrow. So if you are a member of the channel, be sure to join us for Member Monday. Mark, do you have any final comments to round out the show?
no, good show. Thank you guys for coming.
All
I
right.
appreciate it. Good questions.
Well, thank you all so much for coming. Our next live stream is going to be episode number 5. It's going to be next Sunday at 7 p.m. Central. Member Monday is tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central. And as always, best of luck to you. Stay safe. We'll see you again next episode. Take care.